So here we are then at the Spanish Grand Prix for round 5 of the GP2OS Championship. The lights are on. And we're underway here. It seems like Senna's got a really good start, but hang on a minute, there's Irvine just behind him. And is that Mika Hakkinen looking down the inside there? But no, he tucked back in. Alesi there, going quite far back from Irvine, but Irvine's going to send maybe someone down the inside. No, he isn't, but there's damage in the background. That's Hill. Hill has lost his front wing there going to turn 1. Hill he doesn't have a front wing. He's going to be very slow there, so everyone's going to have to try and manoeuvre around him. So we cut forwards here. That is Herbert down the inside of Mika Hakkinen. Is Mansell going to try one down the inside of Hakkinen? No, he isn't. But that is awful, awful for Damon, as he's now going to... He's been hit off there. Sorry, he's been hit in the back there by the Benetton. But that is awful. And Hill, without a front wing, he might have just misjudged his braking point and hit the back of a car there. But, oh, he's made contact with Mohammed. Mohammed on his debut has gone off the track. But Damon Hill in 20th place there. But Eddie Irvine right up behind Senna. Is he going to try him down the inside? No, he isn't. Irvine and Alesi 3rd, Herbert 4th, Hakkinen 5th, Mansell 6th, Brundle there. Herta's trying to go down the inside of Brundle, not going to get that one done. Larini in 9th, Morbidelli 10th, Berger in 11th place, and then Panis and, oh, here we go. There's your Leto there. Has Sonny Hayes trying to go down the inside, but Ayrton Senna leads after lap 1, and it's disaster for Williams at the start. Or it's disaster for Hill, shall I say. But Herbert now right on the back of John Alesi. He's going to look down the inside. But is that Irvine now going to try and overtake Senna for the lead? Here we go, Irvine. Is he going to send one down the inside? He is indeed. That's Irvine in the lead of the race. He's got ahead of Senna. Herbert takes P3 off of John Alesi. Mika Hakkinen in 5th. And that's Brian Herta now trying to go down the inside of Martin Brundle, who himself has had a really good start. And that's Larini behind, Morbidelli, Panis, Rydell, Berger, Hayes, Leto 15th. Schumacher 16th, Barrichello 17th, Fisichella 18th. But that is Hill in the pit lane as well now. So Hill has lost a lot of time there. But here we go. Here come all the drivers. Away around sector 2 here as Brundle now. Seems like he's losing a little bit of time to top 5, and that's Larini going to try one down the inside. No, he isn't. He backs off there. But Rydell going to try one. Here we go, Rydell. Oh, here we go. There's 2 mega sends there. Rydell goes down the inside of Panis, and his Berger and Hayes haven't swapped positions. But there we go. What a crazy start there that was. But Hill has got it all to do now from the back of the grid after having to pit with damage. But Nicola Larini now is going to try to go down the inside of Martin Brundle there, but no, we can't get that one done. But now Morbidelli might try one down the inside of Brundle. Here we go, what a change there. So Morbidelli down the inside, Rydell down the inside of Larini. Larini trying to go down the inside of Brundle and ended up losing a position. So Larini now in 11th place. Michael Schumacher 15th, Leto 16th, Barrichello 17th, Nui 18th, Fisichella 19th, Army 20th. He's cut back here. Herbert's looking quick here. The back of it and Senna. But go John Alesi in P4. Mika Hakkinen incredibly in P5 for LaRousse. He's just holding up Mansell here, the Ferrari. So let's see if Mansell's going to try one down the inside. We're going to go on board with the Brit. Is he going to look down the inside? He is indeed. Sends one down the inside on the LaRousse, but he's not going to get it. He made contact with Mika, but he gets his way through. Sort of having to barge his way through there. And now it's Herta's go on the LaRousse. Then we've got Morbidelli, Rydell. But Johnny Herbert, though, right on the back of Senna. Senna's struggling in these early phases of the Grand Prix. But through goes Herbert then for P2. Or is he going to get through? In the background there, you see Herta going down the inside of the LaRousse. But yeah, there we go. So Herbert through on Senna. There's Alesi, Mansell. Herta is through on Hakkinen. So Hakkinen's down in 7th now. There's Morbidelli, Rydell. And that is Martin Brundle being overtaken there by Larini. And there we go. So Martin Brundle dropping a few positions now. There's Sonny Hayes, Panis, Berger. After winning the last round, is now down in 14th position. But that's Sonny Hayes now going down the inside of Brundle. Sonny Hayes isn't messing about. As here we have everyone making their way around. Pedro Lamy back from his 2-race ban. Hopefully he'd have learned something from Pacific, but Senna in race pace seems to be struggling a little bit with the Ferrari. Had a good start, but Irvine, after his retirement in Monaco, I think is looking to jump back. We have Alesi. Mansell's looking quite quick though. He's dispatched of Hakkinen last lap, and now he's making a run for it to try and catch Alesi up. They're all flying down this straight here. Rydell in 9th, Larini 10th, and that is, who is that there? I think that's Martin Brundle under pressure from the Tyrrell. Is he going to go for 2 in 1? Oh no, he isn't. So that's Berger there, who seemed pretty quick. And there's Berger. And there's also Leto there going down the inside of Inui. So Leto sends one down the inside of Inui. Gets that one done. Inui on his debut there for Jordan. So there we go. Alesi now under pressure from Nigel Mansell in the Ferrari. Also looking make a bit more of an impact. Is he going to try and send one down the inside? No, he's not. But we've also got Brian Herter. So Brian Herter, after some pretty poor last races, is now seeming a lot quicker. But speaking of looking a lot quicker, he's maybe looking at a double overtake here, but Mansell's going to go through, definitely. But what's Herter going to think of this? Is Herter going to try and send one? Oh, there's smoke! Who is that? Who's that? There's smoke. There's smoke billowing out the back of Larini's car. But we have to cut back here, as Sean Alesi has been passed by Mansell. Herter's just behind, but there's smoke coming out of the back of Larini's car. The Ligier has cut out. There we go. So Larini is out of the Spanish Grand Prix. That's heartbreak for Ligier. He scored his first points of the season last round, but that is it. He will go no further. And that is Ligier up in smoke with an engine problem. So the Ligier Ford giving out, unfortunately, on lap 6, 65. But there's Brian Herter as well now passed on Alesi, sorry, while we were watching that. So Herter's now passed on Alesi. Well, Alesi seems to be dropping a bit here. I think he might be struggling. Herter looks like he's taking the role of driver number 1 for this race. But go Brian Herter. It's Alesi, Hakkinen, Morbidelli, Rydell as well on the back of this train. There's Sonny Hayes peeling away from Panis, Berger. Gaps are starting to split up a bit now. It's Brundle and Inui together. So Inui seeming very quick on race pace, a lot quicker than his teammate anyway. And there we go. Is he going to go past on his teammate there? Speaking of overtakes, Schumacher now looking down the inside of Gerhard Berger, and he's going to be looking to get that one done. He does indeed, and Inui, he's passed on Brundle. Attacking Inui on his debut. 1-1. That's the Pacific as well, having a battle with a Simtech there. It's Christian Fittipaldi trying to get past David Coulthard. Mansell, Herter, Alesi, Morbidelli. They're still flying formation. Sonny Hayes in Simon Little World there. Panis, Schumacher, Berger, Inui, Brundle, Leto, Barrichello, Fisichella. Name a few. Jalami, Mohammed as well, after being knocked off by Hill on the first lap, is still trying to do what he can, and to be fair, the fact he's in 20th isn't too bad. There's Frentzen as well, he's really struggled this round. He's only just qualified for this race, and now he is quite far behind. And there's Hill, and Mancinelli as well is quite far behind. I wonder what happened to him. Didn't see what happened to Mancinelli, but he was quite far behind. But here we go, 2 cars side by side, that's Rydell And he's passed on Mika Hakkinen. So Rydell is through on the LaRousse. Going into turn 1. So Rydell gets the move done. Looking to prove to Benetton that he very much deserves to be on this grid. And Mika Hakkinen just tucked in behind. There's Sonny Hayes there, look. And Panis, Schumacher, Berger. But here is the leader, Eddie Irvine. Looking to bounce back after his puncture in Monaco. He is flying at the moment. With Johnny Herbert as well. In second place with Senna. Running third. Mansell fourth under pressure from Herta. But speaking of pressure, Alesi is under a lot of pressure from Morbidelli, who's going to send one down the inside. He's going to get it done. No, he isn't. So Alesi struggling for pace here at the moment, whereas his teammate seems like he's making a lot more use out of these new upgrades for McLaren. But who knows, maybe Alesi has a bit more fuel on the car, so he could be going a bit slower. That might be why. Remember, some of these cars might be fueling a lot more, so it will slow him down a bit. But that's Morbidelli now going down the inside of Alesi for 6th place. So Morbidelli makes the move. Rydell looking, but no, not making it. There's Mika Hakkinen as well in P9, just behind. Maybe trying to seek out an opportunity where it arises. And that's Morbidelli now passed on John Alesi. So yeah, John Alesi is carrying a lot more fuel than all the other cars around him. So just bear that in mind. Yeah, so John Alesi is carrying 37 laps of fuel, whereas all the cars around him are carrying 16. His teammates carrying 16. Okay, Senna's carrying a lot of fuel as well, so that would explain the slower pace of Senna this early on. So just have to remember that just because they're slow now, they might not be later. And having extra fuel on the car does slow the cars down. So Alesi, with that extra fuel, is going to try to do a one-stop. Whereas his teammate seems like he's doing 2. So this will get quite interesting to the end. Senna as well is also doing just a one-stop. So we'll see how that plays out for the Brazilian. There's Brian Herta on the back of the both Ferraris. So Herta is really making use of these new upgrades from McLaren. He's going to try and send one down the inside of Nigel Mansell. Is it? I think he is. He's going to tuck back in. No, he's going to send one down the inside of Mansell, and he's through. Brian Herta into P4. And that's Mika Hakkinen trying to move on Alesi. Alesi's dropping positions now. But that is, again, the heavy fuel load. That's Olivier Panis now under pressure from Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher down the inside. That's Michael Schumacher through. Gerhard Berger just ahead of Inui. Brundle now under pressure from Leto. That's Pedro Lamy going down the inside of Barrichello. But now Ayrton Senna is under pressure from Herta, who's doing very well on his light fuel. And we could be seeing Herta running in the podium position here. So Herta is enjoying these upgrades a lot more, but bear in mind, again, as I say, he is running a heavier fuel load. That is why he is going a lot quicker than his teammate. It's the same with Mansell. It's the heavier fuel loads that make a big difference. And there's JJ Leto with Brundle just behind. Pedro Lamy, Mohamed, Barrichello, Fisichella, David Coulthard, Fittipaldi, and there's Frentzen as well, struggling. And Damon Hill, though, is coming back. He's catching up. There is Eddie Irvine, Johnny Herbert in P2. Now Ayrton Senna is under pressure from Herta. Herta should be pretty textbook for Herta. He's going to look down the inside there of Senna. He's not going to get it done, but he's going to sell him the dummy. And there we go. Through he goes. Is he going to go through? Or is Senna going to hold on to it? No, he goes through. So that is Herta through. And that's also, I think, Hakkinen trying for a move on Alesi, but he's not going to get that one done. It's all running wide a bit there, Hakkinen. Made a bit of a hash of that one. And that might give impetus for Sonny Hayes to maybe go through. That's it. And sorry, that's Mansell through on Senna now. So Mansell, there's a bit of a position swap here for Ferrari. Mansell goes through on Senna. The Senna is just going to be trying to go as far as he can. I wonder if that's the strategy. Doing the one stop, or maybe a two stop is quicker, but we will find out towards the end. As there's Rydell still on the back of Morbidelli for possibly a good P6 position, but Herta now running third. So Herta and well for McLaren at the moment. Mansell, Senna, Morbidelli in 6th, Rydell 7th, Alesi 8th, Hakkinen 9th, Hayes P10, Schumacher 11th, Panis 12th, and Nui 13th. Gerhard Berger is 14th, but Gerhard Berger is running the heavier fuel load. That is why Berger might just be a little bit slower. Jojo Leto there, running P15, Mohammed as well, P16 on debut. Big train here. Cars. That's to be expected. But Eddie Irvine now has lapped Alex Mancinelli. So Mancinelli there, unfortunately, not sure what happened to him early on, but he is a lot further back than I think people were expecting. So they must have made a mistake somewhere that I don't think the camera's caught up, or picked up, shall I say. But next, Johnny Herbert. Brian Herta. Senna is doing his very best to keep up here, but he's about a second and a half slower than the guys who are on a lighter fuel load. He's going a lot slower than Morbidelli, so Morbidelli might be catching Senna up in a few laps in that footwork car. And he comes, Rydell in 7th, Alesi 8th, Hakkinen 9th. Hayes is now on the back of Hakkinen, so Hayes might be looking for a move. American on Finn. Let's see here. As there's yellow flags, there's Fisher Keller. Fisher Keller is out for Minardi with the loose wheel. Oh no. So, not a reliability failure, but just maybe the mechanics didn't put the wheel on properly before the start. But Minardi are going to be kicking themselves there. It's third retirement in a row for Fisher Keller. With a loose wheel, so very unfortunate for the Minardi squad. But hopefully they can get the other one to the end. Mohammed will be hoping he can get that car to the end. As here we have Brian Herta, Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Morbidelli. There's Rydell, Jean Alesi, Hayes, Hakkinen, Schumacher there. So while things have calmed down a little bit, I think we're just going to discuss the new financial rules. So after every 4 rounds, there's an update on the rules and transfers, and there's upgrades for each team. So what has happened is basically now these new improvements basically mean that the Tier 3 and Tier 4 teams are being sort of unsuitably messed up quite short. I'm trying to phrase it the right way. So the Tier 3 and Tier 4 teams are unfairly, I want to say, portioned cash compared to the Tier 1 and Tier 2 teams, which essentially does make sense. However, I think it got to the point where it was a little bit unfair for those who did want to sort of build a little bit more. So what has happened is that the Tier 1 and Tier 2 sponsorship money has stayed the same, but Tier 3 and Tier 4 have gone up in 100k each. So now Tier 3 teams make 300 grand sponsorship money, and Tier 4 teams make 200 grand sponsorship money each race. So I'm just going to leave it on camera mode real quick. So yeah, that is how that works. And also now the penalties for actually losing money is it's more money when you have a crash or DNF now. So if you crash and DNF, it's 400, whereas now a reliability problem is 200. So we're all at 200 grand. So we're all in a bit of a learning phase here. Well, I am certainly. It's my first season doing this, so you know, any feedback greatly appreciated. But I think we'll see how this goes for the next 4 rounds and go from there. But a lot of teams are in debt at the moment from these upgrades. So whether that was something they should have done, then we'll find out. But again, we're all learning together, so we'll see what's in store for us come 1995, but that is a long way yet. So it's Rydell here, gonna look down the inside of Morbidelli at turn 1. I don't think he is, he's too far back, isn't he? Yep. That's Mika Hakkinen, and they've been overtaken by Schumacher. So Schumacher's come out of absolutely nowhere. And now he is going down the inside of Mika Hakkinen. There we go. He's getting that one done. So Hakkinen now down in 10th position. So Brian Herter, though, still P3. Mansell P4. Senna is being caught up by Morbidelli and Herter. Not Herter. Rydell, as predicted. But there's moves being made again here as well. And that's Senna. Oh, that's... Hey, that was a bit argy-bargy. Let's have a look. Let's go on board with Sonny Hayes there. Have a look. So here we go. Does he just send one down the inside of Hakkinen and sort of push him out of the way a little bit? Let's have a look. Does he lock up or... Yeah, he just pushes him wide. It's still side by side, but does just push him wide a little bit. But that's fine. I mean, we'll see what the stewards have to say about that. But Hakkinen wasn't exactly shoved off the track. So, yeah, but there's Martin Brundle struggling for pace a little bit compared to Inui, which is really surprising actually. Inui's really coming to a second wind here this round, but yeah, there's Rydell still on the back of the footwork of Morbidelli, who's still chasing his first points of the season. As I believe it was, who was it? I think it was Panis who got points for the team. It was indeed. Panis got points in Japan, footwork. Very lucky point, shall I say. As Salva, here we go. Rydell making a move on Morbidelli there for P6. So Rydell, through he goes on the footwork. But anyway, yeah, so the Sauber with Pedro Lamy took out Damon Hill. So that allowed footwork to get a very sneaky P6. So now they are actually, competitively wise, running in the points for a lot of the races now. So we'll see what they can do going forward, that's for a fact. But Morbidelli there. And what he can, Irvine and Alesi now. This might be under threat for Michael Schumacher, who is, again, on a lighter fuel load. As in a lot of these drivers, so it depends. We're waiting now for the first pit stops, I think. So is Eddie Irvine going to peel in? No, of course he isn't. But they are low on fuel now. So they're going to be the quickest they're going to be. But still playing to the hands for drivers like Senna. And who else is on a long stint? Alesi. So drivers like those will benefit from those stopping now, but only time will tell, really. But it's looking good for Benetton at the moment, as I think Irvine's definitely made a very big gap for himself. So I'm not sure if the one stop is viable if they gain that much time, but Schumacher's struggling to get through there on John Alesi. Right, there we go. Brian Herter and Mansell dispatch Mancinelli. Rydell still just ahead as Alesi defends from Schumacher. So good job there, John. It's Michael though, looking. No, it's not going to get it done. As here we go though, Rubens Barrichello though, looking for a move on Brundle, but he's not going to get that one done. We've got Fittipaldi as well looking for a fight. Coulthard. And then Damon Hill catching the back of this pack up. He's on for a bit of a redemption here. He's flying. There's Johnny Herbert. Brian Herter, Mansell. Senna. Go on board with Morbidelli though. Right up behind Rydell. And so we got that Schumacher down the inside of Alesi there. So Alesi. And there's yellow flags. That's Sonny Hayes. He's on fire. Sonny Hayes is out with an engine problem. So, unfortunately, Tyrrell. That's Sonny Hayes, 5 out of 5. When will his luck improve? That's really unfortunate there for the Tyrrell squad. But as long as they can get the other car to the end, they will still get 100 grand. That is what is certain for them. But we have a first pit stop there. I think that's Michael. Michael is in. So, Michael Schumacher, I believe that was, in the pit lane now. That's really, really unfortunate there for Tyrrell. I mean, it's Sonny Hayes. There's 5 in a row for the driver from America. So, as long as Tyrrell can get the other car to the end, I think they'll be happy. as their pace hasn't looked the greatest here in Spain. But Irvine stays out, so Irvine still has 3 laps left on his fuel, but is Herbert going to try one in? He is! Herbert boxes, so Herbert's coming in. Herbert is pitting. So Herbert's coming in. Let's see where he comes out. That'll be really important. See where he peels out of the pit lane. And Morbidelli's back past Rydell, by the way. Completely missed that. So Rydell is back past. Nope, sorry, Morbidelli's back past from Rydell. As here we go. So let's see where Herbert comes out compared to all these other guys. Just Rydell now. Is he going to try one down the inside? Is this going to get close? As Mancinelli's in the way here. As Morbidelli's going to try to go around the outside to lap him. There we go. He's got that one done. So there's Alesi and there's Herbert. So Herbert comes out ahead of the Hakkinen. So Herbert pits earlier. And the driver in the lead. There's Berger. The last running Tyrrell in the race. And here we go. There's a big clump of cars here. Looking for moves. That's Hill as well on the back of this bunch. He's now going to have to sort of manoeuvre his way through this pack. Down the inside he goes on Coulthard. Takinui pits. There we go. So Irvine's still not coming in though. But when will Mansell and Herta give it a go? That is the question. I wonder how much fuel has Herbert put in the car. So he's put 24 laps of fuel in the car. So he is going to pit again. So he's going to go for 24 laps. This is important because Senna is doing a one-stop. So there's Morbidelli though. Morbidelli's coming in. I think he's going to try the undercut on Rydell. There's Herta though. Still on the back of Mansell. He's doing an incredible race, is Herta, here in Spain. Really, really good job. There's Mancinelli. Alesi ahead of Herbert. So Herbert is flying at the moment. But obviously he's on that new fresh set of tyres. So let's see what he can do. Let's see what the Brit can do. There's Hakkinen, Panis. As they're all just flying down. There's Mohammed. Berger. Leto, Lamy, Fittipaldi, Brundle. Who's that? Oh no! Morbidelli. This undercut's not going to work, my friend. He's come out right behind this big pack of cars here. There's Eddie Irvine finally going to come in. So here comes Eddie Irvine. Eddie Irvine pits. So Eddie Irvine in the pit lane. Where will he come out? That's Jean Alesi now ahead. So Alesi on the one stop. Is he going to put much of a defence on Herbert? As Irvine is in the pits now. Herbert's not going to be messing about here though. Through he goes on Alesi. Don't think he wants to stay behind him much longer. But let's see though. Eddie Irvine now. As Mansell takes the lead. So Mansell was in the lead of the Grand Prix, but how long will that last? Probably not too long. But is Senna going to be coming out ahead of Irvine? He is. So Irvine's ahead of... Senna's ahead of Irvine. Irvine just peeled in front of his teammate there, so good strategy there from Benetton. But Herbert, look at the gap Herbert has cut down there on Irvine just by pitting a few laps earlier. But now Irvine is right on the back of Senna. So Irvine's managed to box, come out, and he's still behind Senna. So I don't think it's going to be a very long battle between those two. But Irvine is in a very, very good position here to be winning this race. As Martin Brundle now is having moves sent on him left, right, centre, but Morbidelli is going to hate this. He's going to want to get through these guys as quick as possible, but unfortunately, I don't think Footwork timed that pit stop very well there. As now Coulthard looking down the inside of Footwork, though, is getting impatient. Morbidelli's going to try sending down on 2 cars, and nearly hits the back of the Jordan. Martin Brundle, but Martin Brundle holds firm. There's Eddie Irvine. He's already through on Senna. When was that done? I think that was done here. Here we go. Irvine through on Senna. So Irvine makes the move on Ayrton. So Ferrari not with the best strategy of today, I think. As Mansell pits, so Herta staying out still. So Nigel Mansell is in the pit lane. Eddie Irvine. Oh, Senna runs wide. The Senna ran wide there. So he's struggling on his tyres. He's really struggling on his tyres. They're just going to give impetus for Rydell to go down the inside here. After that really bad exit from Senna. Is he going to try it? No, he's not. But Senna there, struggling on his tyres. So if that's not a clear indicator of how his tyres are getting on, I don't know what is. Panis is now passed on Mansell coming out the pit lane. So where's he going to come out? Is he coming out? Where's he going to come out? Let's try and fire. There's smoke. I've just seen smoke. Christian Fittipaldi. Christian Fittipaldi is out. And that's Damon Hill going down the inside of Lamy, but Fittipaldi, the ever so reliable Pacific Heart, for the first time this season has given up on them. Heartbreak for Pacific. It's awful. You hate to see this. Such a reliable car after all the upgrade windows, and it's now smoking. And they're out. The engine goes dark. And that's it. Fittipaldi is out of the Spanish Grand Prix after 22 laps. So, and there we go, that's Mancinelli there letting his teammate through, but Häkkinen's pitting anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference. But that's awful there for Pacific, who will earn nothing from this race. They won't lose money, but they won't gain money either. So it's really unfortunate there for the Pacific squad. It's now Herbert is already on the back of Senna. Senna losing 3 seconds a lap to Herbert. Herbert is not going to slow down whatsoever, and through he goes. So Herbert now up into P4. Häkkinen pits. And there's Irvine and Alesi. I think that's Hill coming in the pit lane as well, I think I can see on the mini-map. So Hill pits. Yep, Hill pits. But Brian Herta is still in the lead, but maybe not for long, because Irvine is right behind him. Is Irvine going to send one down the inside? He is indeed. There we go. Irvine through on Herta, and he gets that one done. So Herta now in second place. He's going to need to pit soon. I think this lap will be the lap Herta comes in. There we go. In he comes. In comes Herta. Rydell now. That's Herbert right behind him, but he slows down right in front of Herbert there to come in the pits. So that's Herta and Rydell into the pit lane. Where will they come out? There's Irvine and Alesi, Mancinelli, Panis, Mansell, Mohammed, Berger, Leto. There's Morbidelli. So Morbidelli, I don't think, is going to be gaining any positions from the undercut he tried pulling off there. So unfortunately, he has been stuck in a train of cars. Let's see here, though. So Herta coming out of the pit lane. Where does he come out? He comes out in 6th place. So Herta comes out in 6th. But again, he's only going for 16 more laps and he come back in again. Rydell for 24 comes out, but he's now going to get stuck behind Leto and Schumacher. Schumacher's going down the inside of Leto. What's Rydell going to think of this? He's going to tuck behind. There's Morbidelli, Brundle, Barrichello, Häkkinen. Panis is in the pit lane now as well. And Morbidelli comes out just behind Rydell. Is he going to send one down the inside of Rydell here? So he hasn't been able to undercut him, but he's still quite close to him. So let's see what Morbidelli can do. But Rydell is on fresher set of tyres. So let's see. There's Brundle. Brundle still has 22 laps to go. That's Häkkinen down the inside of Barrichello. So Häkkinen trying to make up positions there in third from 13th. Hanumi 15th. But our camera's cut to Senna, who has 19 laps to go on this stint. So if he can stay in P3, then that might be where he finishes. But cars behind him going to be a lot quicker. There's Alesi as well, doing the one stop. So Senna and Alesi are the one stoppers in the main group of front running cars, shall I say. There's Mansell, Herta, there's Berger in 7th. So I think Berger is also doing a one stop. I haven't seen him come in yet. Let's see how that goes for him. There's Schumacher. JJ Leto's causing a bit of a train here. So again, JJ Leto, I think, is also doing a one stop. How much of a train is this going to cause? Let's see here. That's oh, switchy. Down the inside there goes Gianni Morbidelli. Brundle is passed on Mika, but Mika's going to say no thank you, I want to go back past, and Brundle loses that position. But there we go, Eddie Irvine still leading the race. Herbert second, Senna third, Alesi fourth. But Irvine has been on another level this race. Mancinelli there, he's hopefully going to move out the way for Herta. Herta's going to just go down the inside, not make much of a fuss. There we go. But Senna stays P3. There's Alesi, Mansell, and that's Berger. That's Schumacher through on Berger. So Schumacher, I believe, has pit. I think. No, I don't think he has actually. Schumacher hasn't pit. I don't think he has anyway. But there we go. Rydell, Morbidelli, Leto, Hakkinen, Brundle, P13. The Jordans, incredibly, still in the running. So, Jordan, who are now under new ownership of, under Eric, well I say ownership, they have a new manager, Eric Brenner. So Eric Brenner is now, he's replaced Johnny Fernandine and he's made radical changes to the squad. And it has worked, they both qualified for this race. And they've tried bringing in upgrades for this round as well, so that may have worked. We will find out. We've not hit halfway here in this race, so you never know. Anything can happen and will. So there's JJ Leto. He's got Mika Hakkinen right behind him. Is Mika going to try one down the inside of this chicane here? No, he's not. How dangerous would that be if he tried doing that? But he lost all the time doing that, so he won't do that again. But there is Mika. Oh, he runs a bit wide there. Whoa! You can hear that. You can hear the tyres screeching. But yeah, he runs a little bit wide there. That's Rydell though, right on the back of Berger. Now Berger is yet to stop. Whereas Rydell has. Rydell down the inside he goes on Berger. Gets that one done. Morbidelli watching on. And now Herta is right up behind Nigel Mansell. So Herta is absolutely flying today. He's going to send one down the inside of Mansell. And he gets that one done. So Herta now up into P5 for McLaren. Alesi P4. So Herta enjoying this one. There we go. So there's Alesi in your picture there. So Alesi, we're not sure how long he's got. Senna's got 16 more laps. Alesi has 18. So they've still got quite a few more laps left to go for Senna and Alesi before they pit. Were those the right calls? We're not sure. We're not sure at all. There's Johnny Herbert. Alesi, Herta, Mansell. Right, things have now started to settle down a little bit. As Berger is P9. Morbidelli though looking to down the inside. We know what happens if you try to go down the inside there, but no, he doesn't get that one done. Irvine is romping away with this. He's done a stellar job. John Alesi, P4. He's being caught up rapidly by Herta, who was 2 seconds a lap quicker than Alesi. Herta is flying. Herta's really taken over the main sort of driver role here in Spain. But we do still have quite a lot of cars left in this race, so we will see what happens. Eddie Irvine. Herbert, Senna, Alesi though. He's got on board with Brian Herta though as he chases down his teammate P4. Now, I do stand by in thinking that the 2-stop is quicker than the 1-stop for this one. I can't see how the 1-stop would be a more viable strategy. Especially the amount of turns and medium speed corners that this track has. You need fresh tyres to be as quick as you can. But unfortunately, I don't think the message has been sent through as Herta is now looking to make a move on his teammate. The P4, is he going to do it? He sends one down the inside of his teammate and gets it done. So Herta now up into P4 while Mansell sit back and watches. But Alesi struggling here, whereas Herta is flying. So there we have Johnny Herbert, Eddie Irvine now, right on the back of Coulthard and Lamy. We're now nearing halfway through this race. As there's a bit of battles going on back here. Look, here we go. There's a big train here. So Olivier Panis, Brundle, Hill, Barrichello, and Nui and Mohammed. So Damon Hill trying to get past. Is he going to get it done on Brundle? He is. So Damon Hill passed on Brundle. And then it's Barrichello and Nui Mohammed. So there we go. There's your order. I do wonder what the plan is going to be here for Ferrari and McLaren. More specifically, Senna and Alesi, who are both on 1-stops. As he runs it wide, do it wide there for Senna. Those tyres, he's got 13 laps left. Will that be enough to keep Herta behind? I don't think we know, but Senna is starting to make a few mistakes. I think those tyres are starting to die off a little bit. As there's Damon Hill now, making his move on Panis after that lap 1 incident. He's looking to make a bit of a comeback here. Panis just slots in behind, so Panis not putting up much of a fight. Brundle, Barrichello, Mohammed, Anui, Lamy, and Eddie Irvine getting up close. But now Mansell is on the back of Alesi, so Mansell is going to try and maybe scythe his way past the McLaren driver. But let's see what happens. We are now halfway through this race, so see what happens. How much power has this Ferrari got? Bear in mind, McLaren have upgraded their power as well, so they are quite quick on the straights as well now. But how much does he close in on braking? Yeah, the tyres in that Ferrari are looking much, much better. Right, Eddie Irvine now is loving every second of this race, I'm sure. But Schumacher is in the pits now, so Schumacher is in the pits. Mansell right up behind Alesi. So Mansell looking to maybe get past. Well, of course he's looking to get past. He needs to. The benefit of his strategy, as he sort of let her to go a bit here. There we go. Down the inside goes Mansell. And he's through. Mansell is through on Alesi. So Mansell pass on Alesi on fresh rubber. Alesi just has 13 more laps left to go on that set. Senna's got 11, probably a bit less than that, maybe 10. So Senna will be boxing on lap 43. Hertz will be boxing a lot earlier than that. So, be interesting to see where this goes. Johnny Herbert will be boxing around the same time as Senna. So, this will maybe get quite interesting towards the end. But Irvine is going to pit in 4 laps, is Irvine. So, Irvine, very short second stint for Irvine, but let's see what goes on. There's Senna. Go. So our top 6 comprises of the 4 top teams at the moment. Irvine in the Benetton first, second is Herbert, and then it's Senna, Herter, Mansell, Alesi, Vidal, P7, Morbidelli, running in P8. So, and Hakkinen 9th, Berger 10th, Leto in 11th. And rather incredibly as well, Jordan is still going in this one, so obviously not known for their reliability, but we'll see what they can do. If they survive to the end, or Alesi is now sort of keeping up with Mansell here. So Mansell's tyres, I think, are starting to go a little bit here. So Alesi's still holding on to him. But Senna's now getting held up by lap traffic. So Senna's getting held up by Frentzen. He's not going to be liking that very much. But through he goes. On the Lotus. Frentzen is having a horrid time at the moment in that Lotus. He's scored 1 point this season, and that was in round 1. But that's Mansell going slow. Mansell's out with a puncture. Mansell's out. He's just gone slow. Yeah, let's have a look. What tyre was it? Do we know? We don't. But he's out with a puncture. He scored points. He scored Ferrari's first points in the last round, but now he won't go any further. He's maybe picked up a puncture from somewhere on the track. We don't know. But he is out. So Mansell, unfortunately, retiring. So there is still one more Ferrari remaining in this race, and that is Senna. So how will he get on? But that's awful for Ferrari. They've upgraded all the reliability, and then a puncture comes and gets them. So, luckily that won't be too pricey. It's only 200, so they won't be losing too much. Maybe just sanity. And I wouldn't be surprised. Once a Ferrari, always a Ferrari. But, unfortunately, they've still got Senna in this race though. So, hopefully, Senna. There's more yellow flags. There's Morbidelli. Morbidelli. What's happened to Morbidelli? He's just gone off. Is it a mistake? Can't be. No, the engine's out. What could that be? What is he? What? What's that? What's he gone out for? A brake problem. He had brake failure. My goodness. Luckily, he's all right. But that's Morbidelli out with brake failure. So footwork. Suffering from brake failure. So Morbidelli, after getting 10th in the last one, suffers from brake failure rather than any mechanical problem for Peugeot. So maybe something in the brake lining, brake fluid. Maybe it just ran out. Who knows? But that is really unfortunate there. Footwork. Morbidelli struggling to catch a break. Footwork struggling to catch a break, but they do have points on the board. But they've got points, but they are all the way down in 11th. So they might want more, and that's Alesi. That's not Alesi, that's Herta. I'm so used to it being Alesi. It's Herta. Herta down the inside for P3. Senna just behind him, P4. Now we have Sean Alesi, Rydell. So there we go. Mika Hakkinen, P7. Berger P8, Damon Hill 9th, Leto 10th, Panis 11th, Mohammed 12th, Schumacher 13th. Irvine, I reckon, is pitting this lap. So Irvine will be boxing this lap. Mancinelli there, P21, so he's struggling a little bit. We've got Mundle and then Barrichello. Barrichello there, no, Brundle, sorry, lapping Mancinelli. No, camera got Johnny Herbert. Herta's going 4 more laps. Ayrton is so close to his first stop here, but he will be seeing Herta come in before him. So we'll see if maybe Senna can pull an overcut. We know how quick he can be. He was the one who got pole after all. So let's see if he is capable enough of getting a very solid result. So here we go. Down the main straight they go. Who's that behind making moves? No, no one. Ignore me. There's Rydell, Hakkinen, Berger, Damon Hill. So Damon Hill on a bit of a comeback story here. He's been flying. I think he would have challenged for the win today. But Mika's in. So Mika comes in. So Mika into the pit lane he goes. So LaRousse, I believe that is their first stop. It's their second stop. So Hakkinen comes in for a second stop. So I believe that will be his last one. And that's Olivier Panis there, as with Mohammed all behind him. So he's going to send it one down the inside. No, he isn't. Panis holds on to that P10. Schumacher 12th. And Nui 13th. Brundle 14th. Barrichello running 15th. He's going to look down the inside. He is indeed. Eddie Irvine pits. So Eddie Irvine is in the pits. The tyres go off. Tyres go on. And he's off. Johnny Herbert into the lead of the race. Where's Eddie Irvine? Going to come out. Might be coming out in P2 here. He is indeed. Wow, wow, wow. Irvine. Irvine out, coming out in P2. So, Eddie Irvine. It has to be said, Benetton here have done a very good strategy. McLaren in third. Senna P4. Frentzen is 19th. Alesi 5th. Rydell P6. Berger, though, has Hill right on the back of him. Hill is going to pit in 5 laps. So is Berger. So here we go. There's moves. And there we go. Yeah. So here we go. Berger has Hill swooped past him. It's Damon Hill again on his comeback. Is doing a great job. So Inui pits. Unless JJ Leto. JJ Leto's out of the race. JJ Leto's out. That's the second retirement for Ligier. So they're both out. Unfortunately, that's Leto with an all leak out of this race. That's Herta coming in. And so there we go, John Alesi. Still yet to box, but that's so unfortunate there for Ligier. JJ Leto's out of this race. There's Rydell. Senna P3, Irvine P2, so with Herta coming in, he comes out P6, so not too bad for the McLaren squad. Getting Herta back out in that position. But Senna, I think, really wants to come in soon. It will be. There's Anui, Alesi, P4, Adele, P5. That's Herbert! Herbert is out of this race. He pulls alongside. He's on fire. Herbert is out. The Williams Renault has retired with an engine problem. Oh my goodness. Williams are out. Johnny Herbert is out. That's heartbreak for Herbert. He was on for a good result there, but that's a Renault power unit. That's Williams' first retirement of the season. That's awful. That's an awful thing to happen, you know. It's a top team. But, unfortunately, that is Herbert, and he will go no further. So, Senna now running P2. But even more importantly, Herta is now running a net P2 at this rate once Senna comes in. So, all the cars ahead of him come in. So, Herta might be on for a good result here for McLaren. One that he needs to boost his morale up. There's Alesi. Herta, though, is flying. I see his previous lap. Ooh, 25.6. So not his fastest, but let's see how much quicker he is. He's only his second quicker. He's only his second quicker than Senna, so setting the time balls alive. But Senna might be pitting this lap here, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. Here we go. There's Eddie Irvine. And then there's Senna. So there we go. Mancinelli 18th there, cutting in between the 14th place Coulthard and Pedro Lamy in 13th. So go. That's Hill coming in. Hill comes in. Hill pits. So Hill is in for his second stop. Let's see where he comes out. That's car on fire. That's Martin Brundle. The Lamborghini engine is finally expired. And he's out. He has to pull over. He's going to come in the pit lane. No, he's going to just stay out of the pit lane. He's going to stay on the racing line. That might be quite dangerous. Lamy has to take avoiding action, but that is Coulthard out of... It's not Coulthard, Brundle out of this race. Kind of flags and waves. Irvine's got to be just a bit careful. Senna pits there. So Senna tilts into the pit lane. Martin's engine problem. Yeah, that was predicted there for Brundle. Unfortunately, we didn't expect Jordan to get to the end. There's yellow flags being waved. Who is this? Mika! Mika! He spun! Mika spun! That's a mistake from Mika Hakkinen. Oh no! Mika Häkkinen has made a costly mistake. He's going to come back onto the track. Well, that's Mika. He's back on the track, but that's a costly mistake. He was in a very good position to score LaRousse maybe some points, but now he's lost it all. Rydell goes up into P3, but he does have another stop to make. Brian Herter is passed on Senna, but Senna on fresh tyres, light fuel load. Let's see how quick this man can really go. Here we go. So Herter now probably under a bit of threat there from Senna. Berger pits now for Tyrrell, so let's see where Berger comes out. So he drops down into 7th, Schumacher goes up into 6th. Panis passed as well in 7th. Panis does have to pit again though. There's Senna, so here we go. Let's see what Senna is made of. Yeah, Schumacher's got to pit again as well, so. There's Damon Hill. Damon Hill flying at the moment on his comeback to maybe get Williams some points here after they weren't expecting the retirement of Herbert. And this will be what they need. Coulthard is now in the pits from 14th. Coulthard comes in. Right, so there's David Coulthard there out of the pit lane. But Senna's looking mighty quick. So here we go. So Senna's going to start his first time laps. This is where we'll be able to compare him to those around him. So with 21 laps left to go, Irvine leads. Alesi is in 2nd, but I believe he does have to stop again. Yeah, not again, for the first time. So Alesi's got to stop. But things are looking good for Benetton and Irvine at the moment. Looking more than ideal. But Senna is definitely closing that gap to Herter at this very moment. Mika Häkkinen's out! Oh no. What's happened there? Electric problem for Häkkinen. Häkkinen's out. Häkkinen, unfortunately, after spinning, maybe damaging something in the car, we don't know. But that is him out. So unfortunate there. But Sean Alesi pitting now. So Alesi comes in. Alesi pits. Where will he come out? That's Mancinelli coming out the pit lane as well. He's going to pull right in front of Rydell, but Rydell's not going to have any of it and send it down the inside. I don't think he's going to have done. Mancinelli cuts across him there. It's Herter running wide, but now gives the chance for Senna. So maybe Simon down the inside. So Senna now is going to try and make a move for 3rd place. Here we go. No, he isn't. He sits back. He's being patient, is Senna. Olivier Panis pits now for footwork. Barrichello comes in as well. Senna all over the back of Herter at the moment. He's going to try one there. No, he isn't. Backs out of that. And they come then round the final sector. But Senna is flying at the moment. You got a bit held up there, but be interesting to see Irvine's last lap. So Irvine's last lap was a 126. Senna's last lap, or his best lap so far, is a 124.6. So Senna is 2 seconds quicker than Irvine. This would be a very big chase here. 19 laps to close up. 36 seconds. If he continues on with that 2 seconds a lap advantage, things could be looking quite good here for Senna. He just has to clear these cars ahead of him ASAP. And Ferrari could get a long-awaited first win of the season. But is Rydell going to make it very easy for Senna? Or is he going to be coming in this lap? That is the question. What's he going to do here? Lamy comes into the pits. So Lamy comes in. Panish goes up into 10th. Yeah, Rydell comes in the pits. So Rydell's in. So Rydell comes in from 2nd place. Senna is now unleashed. Chase down Irvine. He still closes the gap after being held up a bit there. That's Pedro Lamy coming out the pit lane ahead of Mancinelli. Ayrton Senna has, what's that, 17 laps. 17, 18 laps now to catch Irvine, but that's a very, very, very big gap. So, will it be possible? We don't know. Schumacher comes in the pits from 6th as well. So that will promote Hill into the points. They might get Berger into the points as well, so... Oh no, it won't get Berger into the points. They'll put Berger in 7th. So Berger is up into 7th position now. So there we go. And there's yellow flags. Irvine and Alesi! Alesi has gone up in flames. The McLaren Yamaha, that's his first retirement this year. Alesi is out with an oil leak. Alesi, who I believe is just pit, is out with an oil leak. That puts Rydell up into 4th. Hill now is going to go up into 5th. That's awful, awful luck there for McLaren. They've still got Herta in 3rd, so let's see if they can hold on to that 3rd position. I think that'll be a good compromise for them. I don't think Senna's gaining enough really to catch Irvine by the end of this race. But Herta will happily stay in 3rd. But that's really unfortunate for Alesi. He is out. That puts Berger into 6th, Hill into 5th. Mohammed on his debut into 8th, which is incredible stuff for the Minardi squad. There we go, Senna now lapping the LaRousse there of Mancinelli, the last remaining LaRousse in this race, obviously, after the retirement of Mika, after spinning. And then he had an electrical problem a few laps after. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think Senna is going to be catching up Irvine. Irvine has been too quick, too far. He's too far ahead. So he's just getting 7/10 to a second a lap on Irvine. It won't be enough. He'll get close towards the end, but not close enough, I don't think. But the one stop just wasn't viable for Ferrari, I don't think. It might have worked if they had more aero, but unfortunately he's more of a power car. So probably felt a bit like a tank in the corners. But hopefully Senna can claim Ferrari's first podium this season. It's been Ferrari's worst start to the season for a while. Senna now going to try down the inside. He just gets that one done there. Just lapping. Far ahead. But find it quite hard to believe the amount of DNFs we've had in this race. Especially after all these upgrades. And the percentages have gone down, and, you know, we were fully expecting less retirements, but unfortunately I don't think that's been the case this race. That might be changing. I mean, it's so crazy that Pacific retired, and I don't think anyone was expecting that one, so yeah, it's been quite the race so far. There's still 15 laps left to go, though, so, you know, anything can happen. But Hurt is out! Hurt is out! What's up? What? Hurt is out with the trans. Oh my. No! Herta retires. Herta's out. As a double DNF. That'd be McLaren's first double DNF. Both due to reliability. And how is that happen? I'm bewildered. Herta is out. McLaren have had such good reliability this whole season so far. They come to Spain and it goes thrown out the window. They do all those upgrades and again it's just out the window. And I don't. Wow. That comes as quite the shock to me, but as is with racing, there's still another 11 rounds left, and today might have just been the cars off day. So, sure, the upgrades have proven that Herta and Alesi can be up there. I think McLaren did just mess up the strategy of Alesi, because they could have been a lot higher. But yeah, you don't like to see that. Not at all. So that's a double DNF for McLaren there. But there really aren't that many cars left in this race. And compared to Monaco, I think that was not what we were expecting really, but there's 13 laps left. Rydell is on to get his first podium of the season now. Here in Spain. So, Rydell, after starting, where did he start? Rydell started all the way down in P14. He could be on for a podium here. With Rydell. There's Senna running P2. This is the longest Senna has gotten in a race. Will he get that car to the end? Unfortunately, I think he could have done a lot better, but Ferrari's strategy sort of messed him over a little bit. Probably could have won this race if he was on the same two-stopper that Irvine was. But Benetton, I think, played it to perfection. Can now ride on board with Lamy. All the way down in P12. Oh, no, there's Rydell again. So Rydell must be a good position if he can finish that. Benetton will be happy if he can get this one home. And there's our race leader, Eddie Irvine, who has driven an incredible race, really. He hasn't seemed to sell himself the last few rounds. There's smoke coming out the back. That's Mohammed's car. Mohammed on debut has smoke billowing out the back of the Minardi. I don't know what is going on with the reliability today. That's Mohammed there with smoke coming out of the back of that Minardi. And I'm really dumbfounded on why all the cars are expiring, or struggling, shall I say. As that's Panis now up into P8. But that's horrid luck. Horrid luck. But that's Babika Mohammed on debut. Out. With an engine problem. It's awful. I mean, I'm at myself. Schumacher's out as well! What? Schumacher's out. What's that? Another smoking engine? What is going on? Schumacher is out now. Schumacher retires from P6. Is there anything left? Is there anything else? Schumacher is now out. Will we have any cars remaining? Like, I'm so confused. But yeah, that shocks me. It really does. But that puts Frentzen up into 11th now, and Panis into 7th, and Newey into 8th for Jordan. But we now have only 11 cars left in this race. I mean, I'm sorry, that is ridiculous. How? I don't know. I really do not know. As Taki Anui has been overtaken by Coulthard there. So Coulthard's in 8th for Syntec. But I genuinely haven't got a clue on why we've only got 11 cars left. I've never seen the likes of this happen. I mean, you know, there's 10 laps left. It surely can't be anything else. Okay, no, we've got more than 12. Mancinelli was just 2 laps down. So I think we just have 12 cars left, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, we've got 12 cars left. All the drivers you see at the bottom are all the cars remaining. Which again is it's ridiculous. 12 cars. I think the regulations for next year might need a bit of a looking at, because even with upgrades, depending on the track, it seems like the cars just aren't reliable enough. They aren't reliable enough. The regulations have to change for next season. They have to. I mean, I can't, you know, as Lamy, they're struggling to get past the Jordan. But Eddie Irvine does still lead in what seems to be a very cursed Spanish Grand Prix today. A very cursed Spanish Grand Prix. There's diamonds absolutely everywhere you look. And I can't quite explain it myself. But Irvine and Senna P2, Rydell P3. Hill amazingly coming back being P4, but I think this is going to hurt a lot of teams' wallets, this race. Maybe with the new financial regs, it might not be as damaging, but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to see, really. It is. I mean, words can't really describe it, but Taki Inui, though, has Pedro Lamy right behind him in the Heart. Sauber Heart. Heart, obviously, with a good engine. He can't get past. It's just the Heart is very reliable but slow. It's like the two opposite engines up against each other. Lamborghini and Heart. You know, but there's Rydell, Damon Hill, Gerhard Berger running P5 after winning the first round. Not the first round, the round before this. But yeah, both Bennettons though, running first and third at the moment. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I really cannot describe what has gone on this race. There has been retirement after retirement, and there's Pedro Lamy there trying to get past Inui, but again just struggling to. Not got enough power in the back of that Sauber to make a move, but you know, it's just, yeah, the regulations will be changing for next year. I'm fairly sure that the FIA will have a look into this, because retirement's a part of racing, but I don't think there should be this much, you know, this bad. So you know, whatever happens, but you know, just I think rules need to be changed on it, and I'm sure they will come next season, maybe even for after the 8th round, who knows. But never have I ever seen this many retirements in a race before. This is new to me, but we have Eddie Irvine. Still running P1 with 6 laps left to go. As the grid now, it's very empty. The track's very empty, shall I say. Yeah, 12 cars left. That's all we got. So Irvine just trying to get his car to the end here. There we go. There's Ayrton Senna. Running P2 is getting ever so close to not only Ferrari Ferrari's first podium this season, but Senna's as well. Senna's first finish of the season. As there's Berger now, just lapping behind Frentzen. That's Ricardo Rydell running P3 for Benetton. There we have it, and Senna now. Ferrari. And that's Mancinelli though, I'm trying to unlap himself. Hey! Mancinelli trying to unlap himself on the Nui on his debut after he was called up to replace Evan Pardy. There's to cut back to the Irvine. Mancinelli though, still trying to unlap himself. He goes down the inside of Inui. There we go. He unlaps himself to Inui, but fortunately he's got to do that to a leading car, not just Inui. Well, it's been a race full of randomness and craziness. Is it going to get any randomer before this race ends? We don't know. We do not know. Now right on board with it, and Senna still running P2 as he comes onto his 62nd lap. Out of 65, he is closing Irvine down, but it's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough at all, because Irvine is just too far up the road. Speaking of Irvine, there he is, Benetton. He's led this race from basically start to finish. Ever since making that move on Senna early on in the race, he's fought valiantly on his own. He has not had much interruption to his lead. Whoever is right on board with the back of Rydell. That's an interesting camera angle there. We're going to have a look at Taki Inui now, who has, I believe, that is. Oh, speaking of Rydell, lapping him. Now on lap 63. There's Senna. Senna. A mighty job there for Ferrari. Is he going to get them home again? After Ferrari retired in the last round in Monaco, they retired. It's Rydell now behind Mancinelli, going to lap him. Now riding on board with it, and Senna. There we go, Ricardo Rydell just making his way through to lap Mancinelli. riding on board with Irvine. He's got 2 more laps left to go before he crosses the line on what has been the most chaotic race I think we've seen, or the second most chaotic. I don't think I've seen much like it, and I hope not to for the rest of the season, to be honest. Senna now through on Panis. Eddie Irvine now starts the final lap of the race. He's done an incredible job there. For Benetton, if he can get it home, it will be a job well done. So here he goes then. Eddie Irvine, who won in Pacific, is now looking to make it double here in Spain. He's going to round off his last 2 corners. And Eddie Irvine, the Benetton Renault, has not put a foot wrong. He's going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. Here he goes. There we go. Eddie Irvine, take a bow, my friend. He's won. Rubens Barrichello comes home in 6th. Ayrton Senna gets his first recorded finish of the season in 2nd place. Unfortunately, I think the Ferrari strategy let him down today. But he's still got 2nd, and his championship charge is on. It's begun here. Panis crosses the line in 7th. Coulthard here. Coming round to record an 8th place finish for Simtech. And he comes. There we go, crosses the line. Pedro Lamy now for P9. Rydell just behind him to get his first podium of the season. There we go, it's a double podium for Benetton. Mancinelli, I'm not sure if it's Mancinelli or Mancinelli, but I'm probably wrong. Cross the line 12th, Takianui 10th, Damon Hill 4th place, Gerhard Berger 5th place for Tyrrell. Frentzen now crossing the line is the last finisher on track, gets P11 for Lotus, and there we go. So thank you for watching, ladies and gents. We'll see you in round 6 for Canada.